what's the reception been, particularly from Democrats? To have they accepted you as a Democratic candidate at this point? You think?
Yeah, I do. And going to the convention in Orlando a couple of weekends ago was remarkable, and the Democratic Party couldn't have been more welcoming and kinder to both Carol and me. And to be honest, it really started with Senator Graham, Bob Graham. Remember when I became a Democrat December 7th last year at the White House, of all places. And shortly thereafter, I talked to Bob Graham on the phone. He said, "I just wanted you to know you're welcome in my party, and it's nice to have you here." And it was great, especially for such a respected Floridian as he is.
Now, you've had some pretty conservative positions over the years. Obviously you ran at one point. You were a Jeb Bush type of Republican. How do you blend that with running for office now? Have your positions changed on
Not really.
issues like education or the environment or any of those things?
No, I mean, even when I was in junior high school in St. Petersburg, I was president of the student council at Riviera Junior High School, and we decided to hold a school dance to raise money to present a check to the city council and the mayor of St. Petersburg to start the recycling program in St. Pete. That was 1971.
Okay.
So I've cared about the environment ever since. I mean, and I've always cared about fairness and justice and, making sure that our communities and our schools are safe. Very little has really changed. I'm still the same guy. I just have a different letter behind my name. And a lot of friends of mine, Jeremy, have told me, Charlie, you've been a Democrat. You just didn't know it. And maybe they were right. I mean, remember, as a Republican governor, I vetoed the ultrasound bill on women, vetoed Senate Bill 6 against teachers. These aren't new positions to me, and judge me by my deeds, and you'll see I am who I am. I'm the same guy.
I remember that presidency 4, maybe, I don't know which one it was, but it was one where you spoke about climate change in this big room full of all these Republicans. I think Connie Mack may have been there, if I remember correctly. I can't remember.
Probably.
And it was, I remember because I ended up writing a story about it at that point where is Charlie Crist too moderate? Because people were starting to grumble even at that meeting.
Right.
It almost felt like, I guess, has the transformation been maybe longer than we realize? It's not just December of last year.
May I correct you? It's not a transformation at all. Okay. It's all the same stuff. Yeah. What's transformed is the Republican Party of today. Not only transformed, I mean, it's the leadership. I mean, there's still plenty of great people that are Republicans, especially in Florida. Mom and Dad are, after all. Yeah. But, seriously, it's the leadership of the party that's changed so dramatically. Not me. And even Jeb Bush said not long ago that, when the Republican Party is perceived as being anti-women, anti-gay, anti-minority, anti-environment, and pretty soon there's nobody left in the room. Well, I'm not in that room anymore because I'm a true Floridian. And I believe that we need to protect our environment, we need to fight for education, we need to do what's right for our teachers, and make sure that we have an ethical government that is transparent and open and honest. And I just don't see that right now.
Now, talking about the race here real quick, when a governor is sitting on pretty decent economic numbers, voters don't traditionally vote them out of office. Is the economy doing well enough to where people are going to, I think, be reluctant to switch governors at a point where it feels like the jobs numbers don't look terrible in Florida right now? How do you convince them that we need to change when things seem to be going okay economically?
Because we can do better.
Okay.
I mean, this fellow ran as wanting to be the jobs governor, and one of the first acts he does, which was completely nonsensical to me, is says we're not going to take the high-speed rail. That would have brought about tens of thousands of jobs. Are you kidding me? Yeah. I mean, how do you not do that if you really want to produce jobs? You could have done it at the get-go. And it would have been $2.4 billion of investment into our Florida, high-speed rail between Tampa, Orlando, and ultimately down to Miami. I mean, that kind of nonsense instead of common sense is what I think really has frustrated people, and why I believe and know that we need a change in Tallahassee so that the people have an advocate again who wakes up every day thinking about their kids in school, thinking about the environment that is so precious, especially in a place as beautiful as Florida. And cares about open government and realizing that it's the people that are the boss, not the governor. The governor is supposed to be the ultimate servant in our state, not the other way around.
And talk to me about the reception you have from Republicans. It's a very different The
Florida's future there.
There you go. Well, let me ask you about the Republican support at this point.
Sure.
Obviously, you were a Republican governor. You had a lot of friends who were Republican. You appointed a lot of Republicans in this area to various boards and commissions. Do you have support from them still, you think, or is that something that you have to still earn, or should we assume that there will be Republicans out there working with you on this?
I think there will be. There already are. And do you have to earn it? You have to earn it all the time. You have to earn it every day. And the way I look at it is earning it from my fellow Floridians, their trust and their confidence. And I know that they want somebody that they feel they can trust. And I just don't think they feel that way right now with Governor Scott, with all due respect. It's just, it's a different kind of administration. And I think people want a change, and they want somebody who understands Florida, who loves Florida like I do, and I think most Floridians do, and will fight for her and protect her. And I will if I win.
I had a good Republican I was talking to over the weekend, and he says, "He's my friend, Jeremy. Of course I'm going to be with him."
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well, it's that simple. And what's great about Florida and the opportunities that I have had to serve as Attorney General, as Governor, as Commissioner of Education, State Senator for Tampa Bay, is that after a period of time, people get to know you and understand that you really care. They look in the eye, and I look them in the eye, and they understand it's about people first. It's not about party first. It's not about partisanship. It's not about the bickering. I mean, one of the things I was most proud of as governor the first time was the tone we brought to Tallahassee. And that is that we would have Republicans and Democrats and independents all working together for a better Florida. And I think people are hungrier for that now than they've ever been, especially when they see the dysfunction that's going on in Washington. I mean, if we can all work together to have a brighter future and a better future for all of us in Florida, why wouldn't we want that?
well, and that's an interesting point because if you were to be governor again, would you be comfortable with being able to work with Republicans to put them in positions, to make it, I know you did that a little bit when you were a Republican, you appointed Democrats to your to positions in the government. Would you do the same thing in
Sure.
the other way?
If I have the privilege to serve again, yes. I mean, I look at people not as a party. I look at people as people. And that's why I appointed Bob Butterworth when I was governor the first time to head up the Department of Children and Families. And then George Sheldon, also a good Democrat, to follow him in that very important role. I wish we had somebody like them leading it now. I mean, it's a nightmare what's happening there at DCF. I think it's over 20 children that have now passed on. So we have to do better. We can do better, regardless of party. Just getting good Floridians to serve again and have the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of Florida, I think will be great.
Now, and speaking about the people to serve with you, building teams, you mentioned this in your kickoff the other day about how many education commissioners Rick Scott has gone through. There's been a lot of changeover and a lot of different agency heads. It's not just education. Is that a sign of a leadership issue in the state of Florida to go through, corrections office, secretaries and, obviously education, up and down the line? It looks like,
It's a disaster.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be funny if it wasn't so important to so many people in the state. There's over 19 million of us in Florida. And, the people that you surround yourself with, you want to surround yourself with the best and the brightest you can find. And I think we can find most of them right here in Florida. I mean, I know he's gone to Indiana and other states, and I'm sure they're fine, but Florida has tremendous resources, and our most precious resource are our people. And we've got great universities, very bright people, very dedicated people who would see it as a privilege to serve in an administration. And, the fact that we've had 4 commissioners of education in 3.5 years is unbelievable to me. What's wrong with this picture? Well, there's something wrong, and the buck stops somewhere, and it's at the top. And that's why I'm running. We need a change.
Last question. Elections can be difficult. Obviously, you've been through several elections. A lot of personal attacks, going on. How do you get used to it after all these years? Do you build a thicker skin? Because the Republicans are bringing everything out. They're bringing people who used to be your friends are saying things about you that I'm not sure if you're surprised, but I'm surprised to see people who once relied on you for help, now turning against you. How do you respond to that? Like, how do you take that stuff personally?
I don't respond to it. In my upbringing, I was taught that you turn the other cheek. And the Republicans, the leadership of the Republican Party, I should say, not Republicans across the state in Florida, but the leadership of the party, I think, has lost focus. I mean, they're talking about me. Well, in this campaign, I'm going to talk about Florida, and I'm going to talk about our fellow Floridians and the future. This is not a race about the past. This is a race about how Florida can do better going forward. And I am confident that if I have the opportunity to serve, we'll improve education, we'll improve the economy, we'll be innovative about new industries that we can bring to the state, like solar energy. And if people want to help, I hope they will go to charliecrist.com, because we need help. This guy has said he's going to spend $100 million to defeat whoever the Democratic nominee is, and that he's going to spend $25 million at the outset defining his opponent. Well, that's me. At least that's what he's decided, because he's got ads that are negative about me. And, usually if you're running for re-election, whether it's county commission or governor or president, your first advertising talks about your record and what you did. So I guess he's so embarrassed about his record that the only thing he can talk about is trying to run me down in order to win an election. But I know better, and I know my fellow Floridians, and this race is going to be about them, not about me.
You have any regrets of leaving the governor's mansion? One of the biggest criticisms has been, you had the best job and you left it to run for the U.S. Senate. Any regrets of having made that decision?
No regrets, none whatsoever. The reason I ran for the U.S. Senate in 2010 is because I saw what was coming in Washington. My greatest accomplishment, if there was one while I was governor before, was setting a different tone. We reached across the aisle to Republicans, Democrats, and independents to do what was right for education, for ethics, for the environment. I was very proud of that. And what I was seeing happening in Washington was not that we needed to have that spirit, I believed, in Washington, D.C. So I ran for the U.S. Senate for Florida and for America to try to make a difference in the tone that I was seeing in Washington and the utter dysfunction that we now see today. So do I regret it? Of course not. It was the right thing to do at the time. And here we are, and maybe have an opportunity to serve Florida again as the chief of this state, the chief servant of this state. And I look forward to it.